Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Tuesday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and we have a lot to talk about today as the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma has upgraded Western Washington and Western Oregon to a slight risk for severe thunderstorms. That is 2 out of 5 on the risk level, and the highest threat of thunderstorms that the Seattle area has seen in at least 13 years. So we're going to get right into that, starting here with the satellite imagery. Our thunderstorm-producing storm is still offshore here. We'll take a look at that in a moment, but you can see our atmospheric river that's been impacting the area has moved off to the north. We have some areas of fog across western Washington this morning. That is clearing rapidly, though, as we speak. And taking a look at the radar, it is calm for now, so enjoy the quiet radar. It will not be like this tomorrow. Taking a look at temperatures currently, I'm filming this at about 11 a.m. and we're already seeing temperatures into the 60s across parts of western Washington. You can see some of the foothills down here along the Willapa Hills up in the mid-60s, some mid-60s showing up around Seattle, and most of the region up and down I-5 in the mid to upper 50s already, and it's only 11 a.m. And when we look at those dew points, you can tell it's pretty muggy out there. You got dew points in the mid-50s to near 60 across western Washington. We'll see this continue into tomorrow as well, helping to fuel those thunderstorms. Taking a look at the European model, you can see that atmospheric river moves off to the north. Our storm pushes in here as we go into Wednesday morning. You can see this trough starts to fire off these thunderstorms, and take a look at how strong they get as we go into the afternoon and evening. And then we have rain continuing through the day Thursday, potentially bringing some mountain snow into Friday, but not too much. And then we will likely dry out with just some showers around the area by the time we get to midday Saturday. Then more showers on the day Saturday into Sunday, and we'll dry out by the time we get to Sunday morning. Taking a look here at upper level wind speeds, you can see this trough as it starts to move inland here. It's negatively tilted. This fuels the chance of thunderstorms. You can see this forcing right here over parts of western Washington and western Oregon. That's what's going to fuel those thunderstorms moving through the area tomorrow. So taking a look here at what is fueling those thunderstorms, these are high temperatures for Wednesday, similar across the area today. So today and tomorrow, we're likely looking at highs in the upper 60s to mid 70s across the region. Areas around Portland, Vancouver, southwest Washington could be reaching the upper 70s, and areas along the Cascade foothills could be in the mid to upper 70s as well. Likely in the upper 60s to low 70s for most of the metro area. The coast and areas north of Everett likely in the mid 60s as well. So these temperatures also will play a part in the thunderstorm formation. So here is the Storm Prediction Center's Day 2 outlook for the Pacific Northwest here. You can see this yellow area is a slight risk, which is 2 out of 5 on the Storm Prediction Center's severe thunderstorm risk scale. This is the only time in history that a slight risk has been issued for areas west of the Cascades. This includes areas from Everett down to Seattle and Tacoma and Olympia, through the I-5 corridor down toward Portland, and then all the way down toward Eugene, Oregon there. This is, again, the only time this has been issued west of the Cascades, and Seattle's highest thunderstorm risk in 13 years since 2012. You can see the dark green here. That is the marginal risk. That extends up from Everett all the way into British Columbia, and then out toward the coast there, clipping Long Beach, and then down into Oregon. And this also extends across a vast swath of eastern Washington and eastern Oregon, even into Idaho down toward Boise as well. Taking a look here at the hail outlook. So severe hail is at least 1 inch in diameter. The hatched area we have here is 2 inches in diameter, as you can see down here in the bottom corner there. So this 10% chance of significant severe hail, which is 2 inches in diameter or greater, so you're looking at about ping pong ball sized hail potential in this hatched area here, as we may have some supercell thunderstorms forming west of the Cascades. This includes Eugene, Salem, Portland, Vancouver, Kelso, up toward Tacoma, and just barely clips Seattle and Renton there. And then outside of that, you have this 15% risk, the yellow, of severe hail. That is 1 inch in diameter or greater. This brown is the 5% risk of severe hail as well. So that highest chance for severe hail is along the Cascades, and then just west, including the Seattle and Portland metro areas. Taking a look at the tornado outlook, this is the lowest tornado risk, but it is a 2% chance of any tornado happening within 25 miles of a given point from Eugene, Oregon, all the way up toward Everett. This does include Seattle and Tacoma, and this is highest along the Cascades, though it does include Portland as well. So this was very interesting to watch. The tornado threat is not very high, but it's definitely there, and we want to just be prepared in the case that may happen. And then the wind outlook, severe thunderstorm winds are categorized as 58 mile per hour gusts or greater, and you can see that that is in effect for most of the area, including this I-5 corridor from the Canadian border all the way down to Eugene, Oregon, and a lot of eastern Washington and Oregon as well. So it's safe to say that this is a significant thunderstorm potential coming up here. Taking a look at the European model, we're looking at where those storms could develop as we go into tonight. You see a chance of thunderstorms across some of the Cascades today. Then as we go into Wednesday morning, as we get to about 11 a.m. Wednesday, you can see some storms along parts of the Olympic Peninsula. Those move north, and then you maybe get some strong storms here over Skagit and Island counties around 2 p.m. And then you have some other scattered storms starting to fire along the Cascades and maybe in some of the lowlands. Take a look at this activity, though. You see it down here over Eugene around 2 p.m. By the time we get to 5 p.m., we have a large complex of storms stretching from the Portland area all the way up toward Olympia. As we go toward 8 p.m., between 5 to 8 p.m., this complex of storms is going to move up into western Washington, impacting all the areas along the I-5 corridor, from the Oregon border all the way up through Bellingham. You can see it weakens as we get toward midnight there and starts to move into British Columbia, and then will diminish entirely by 2 a.m. You also see some pretty strong areas of storms across parts of eastern Washington as well. So if we take a look at this hour by hour here, you can see as we go through Wednesday morning, we get some storms potentially along the Olympic Peninsula, maybe a couple as we get toward noon around parts of the lowlands, especially up here near Skagit County. And then you can see as we go through the day Wednesday, this activity starts down here in parts of Oregon, moving north as we get to about 4 p.m., impacting areas from Centralia down toward Portland with some pretty strong storms. These could be severe thunderstorms. Then moving in toward Olympia and Tacoma, and then up towards Seattle as we get to about 6 p.m. You can see just a complex of storms starting to push northward. 7 p.m. it stretches from Snoqualmie Pass out to Port Angeles with more thunderstorms behind it. Pushes north toward Bellingham as we get to 8 to 9 p.m. and then weakens as it moves north toward Vancouver, BC around 9 to 10 p.m. there. So this could be a very dynamic event as we go, especially through Wednesday afternoon and evening into the night. Taking a look at dew points on the high-resolution rapid refresh model, you can see as we look at midday tomorrow, you got dew points in the upper 50s to low 60s across western Washington and Oregon, increasing into the mid-60s potentially as we go right ahead of those storms. These are high dew points for the summer, so the fact that we're getting them in late March is extraordinary. You can see those dew points 62, 65 degrees potentially across parts of western Washington and Oregon. So really just some crazy dynamics at play here. And if you take a look at the instability here, we're looking at CAPE values. These are just off the charts for western Washington and Oregon. The Pacific Northwest rarely sees these CAPE values of 1,000 to 2,000 across a region. We usually are only peaking at about 700 to 800. So if you don't really know what this means, CAPE is basically the measure of available potential energy in the atmosphere that can generate thunderstorms, and the higher these values are, then the higher the chance is for thunderstorms here. And you can see how high those values are as we go in to Wednesday evening as these storms move through western Washington. You're looking at values near 2,000, maybe even higher across parts of the Cascades as well. And then taking a look here at simulated satellite imagery, you can see we got the NAM model on the left and the high-resolution rapid refresh model on the right. This is basically showing where thunderstorms could form. So you can see as we go into the afternoon there on Wednesday, you get these storms starting to develop across parts of Washington and Oregon, and see the model agreement here with these storms moving through western Washington around 5 to 6 p.m. And then you can see they push off to the north as we go into the evening. So there is model agreement on that. We got to keep watching this closely, though, to see how that trends. Taking a look at 24-hour precipitation, you can see under the heaviest storms, you're looking at over an inch of rain. And you see some of these really big ones across some of the Cascades. You could be looking at up toward 2 inches of rain. There is a flash flooding threat for areas that have been burned over the last couple of years, including in the Cascades of Washington and Oregon and a couple places in the Olympic Mountains. So just heads up for that. If you are near a burn scar area, there is a flash flood threat with that. And then taking a look at simulated radar, NAM model on the left, high-resolution rapid refresh model on the right. This just kind of shows us where storms could form. NAM model shows some areas of storms weakening over the Olympic Peninsula as we go through the morning hours on Wednesday into the early afternoon. Then you see the storms start to form on the Oregon coast and then over parts of the Willamette Valley, and then start to move northward through Portland and toward western Washington as we go into about 5 to 6 p.m. there. You can see the high-resolution rapid refresher on the right showing these being a little bit more scattered. The NAM model showing a big complex of thunderstorms. So we do have to kind of watch to see how that plays out, but you can see this radar is going to be very active as we go into Wednesday evening as these storms move northward across western Washington. So, as always, there's a lot going on. Be sure to subscribe to me here on Western Washington Weather. I'll be doing another video tonight, and I'll be posting that hopefully by 11 p.m. at the latest. You can follow me on Blue Sky, on Twitter, and on the Western Washington Weather Facebook group. The links to all of those are in the description. And a special shout out here to the Western Washington Weather Facebook group. During the storm, this is a place where you can post what you're seeing at your location for everyone else across Western Washington to see. We've got 1,300 folks in this group so far. I'd love to see that go up as we get these thunderstorms moving through the area. It's a great way to share what you're seeing with people around the region, so be sure to go and join that Facebook group. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will talk to you all later tonight.